time to go inside Beaver Dam High School athletics and activities. Our last chat with athletics and activities director Ryan Gerber in 2024, unless I give him a call next Wednesday as he is opening up presents under the Christmas tree. You and Santa want to join me next week on Wednesday, Ryan?
Yeah, absolutely. We could do a deep dive into stockings and everything else, like what's a good stocking stuffer. So yeah, give me a call. Why not?
Are you on the nice list?
Well, it depends on who you ask.
All right.
And that changes day by day.
Does it? So exactly, but there's a lot going on, a lot of positives going on in athletics and activities. At some point today, we're going to talk about what's going on in sports, and Les Mis had a bunch of recognitions we'll get to during the show as well. But let's start at the hockey rink this week, because a couple of Tuesday night, a couple of things happened. The girls got a big win. We'll talk about that in a second. But first, Doug Kraft's boys hockey team had their hard work rewarded last night with a 4-0 victory over at Baraboo, and proud of those kids. Watching what they've done, and great effort from Coach Kraft and his staff.
Yeah, absolutely. They knew this year was going to be a little bit different. I mean, we all did. Anybody that's followed the program knew that was coming. But they've been in games, and the conference game they lost a couple weeks back to Sauk Prairie. That was a tie game, and then a 3-2 game late into the third. They had a chance to tie that game with about 3 minutes left in the game. So the efforts there, I mean, heck, they even played Wanakee tough back another week ago, and Wanakee's a typically tough team that we've had to battle the last couple of years. So the efforts there, it's just they haven't been able to score, and they've been going through a tough part of their schedule with Wanakee and Edgewood back-to-back, but last night they were able to get things straightened out up in Baraboo, winning 4-0. So a couple things there. Number one, they get their first win of the year, which is always a good thing, and now hopefully that leads to even more. But then to get 4 goals, 2 from, of course, Mason Poznansky, who everyone knows is the top offensive threat on this team, but then Ellie Garten got a goal, and Larry Przenka got a goal last night. So a nice game overall for the whole team, and hopefully that sets the table for the rest of the season.
I talked to Coach Kraft. You can hear that interview on the sports tab at dailydodge.com last night after the game, and says that he told, especially with the young team, that first victory is always the hardest. So you hope this opens up some confidence, and they can proceed forward and continue to get better this year and stack a couple of wins. They're going on the road for a few games in a row now here, so we will be on the watch for his team again. They're a fun team to watch.
Yeah, and again, getting that first one so important. Not only does it get you off the snide, but then it starts to build some confidence. It's easy for these young guys to get down on themselves. They're getting beat up physically. They're getting outskated by some older players. So for them to be down in a hole like that, it's like, well, geez, we're not going to win, or we can't win, or whatever. You don't want those things to start creeping into your locker room. And I know the staff's done a real nice job of keeping them up and keeping them understanding of the situation. We're going through a tough stretch of the schedule, but it's going to lighten up. They got McFarland coming up on the schedule, a rivalry game out in Sheboygan, and then the Stoughton hockey tournament that we got into. They're going to play Stoughton, Monroe, and Milton, and no disrespect to any of those teams, but those are 3 winnable games. They've got DeForest on the schedule coming up. That's a winnable game. So there's a lot of things that this team can look forward to. Nothing's a guarantee, of course, and they still got to keep getting better, keep working fundamentally, but hopefully this breaks out some offense and gets some momentum going.
Yeah, and our next broadcast of the boys hockey team on Daily Dodge TV will be against that South Central team, the DeForest Co-op, on January 7th. So be on the lookout for that as well. So congratulations, Doug Kraft's squad, on that big victory. Girls hockey, what an atmosphere at the Family Center on Tuesday night. You had the lone unbeaten team left in the state of Wisconsin come to the Family Center, and they went home with the first one in the L column, 3-2, double overtime for Beaver Dam. Mike Pogorelic's squad at Ryan was shorthanded with injuries and some other things, and they found a way to persevere against a team ranked 5th in the state.
Yeah, I mean, on the roster, it's called the Lakeshore Lightning, but yes, you and I both know this is the North Shore Conference co-op team. I mean, I think there were 7 schools on that roster that I saw. So, remember, this is a team that wouldn't put us on the schedule a couple years ago, and now they wanted to play us. This is the second time we've played them this year. We played them in the Arrowhead tournament earlier in the year and lost 3-2 in overtime. You were there at that game. And this game was exciting. We did get outshot pretty handily the first two periods, but as the third period went on, and they have all these shifts, and our girls were tired, and yes, we've got some illnesses going on, but we seem to just start to exert our will on them, and you saw that shots on goal start to level out, and I think you even mentioned it on the broadcast that at one point we were tied in shots on goal, and we were behind for most of the game on that. So we went back and forth 2-2 and ultimately went into overtime. I think our girls, let's be honest, were a little bit gassed having to skate with that team, but they found a way to win. And that's what's important when you're a head coach. You want to win, of course, but not every win's going to be pretty. Not everything's going to be this dominant 4-0 or 6-1 win. You're going to have to win games that are gritty. And if this team gets to where they want to go, they're going to have to be able to win games like this against tough competition. So I'm proud of them. They were able to win in the 3-2 double overtime, where they ended up going 3-on-3 in that second overtime. So, hats off to them. They're on a 4-game win streak. They've won 5 of the last 8. Let's see where they're going now. They have to go down to Beloit later this week against a team that I believe won the conference last year.
Yes.
So, and then they got a really tough drive out to Verrocco. That's a long trip, and anytime you put your team on a bus trip, that's over an hour.
3 hours.
I believe that's a 3-hour trip.
Well, it's 2.5, 240. Yeah.
Yeah. Anytime you put your kids on a bus trip like that, there's a lot of things to be concerned about. I remember back in the day, back and forth, the wrestling coach, whenever we'd go to Monroe, he'd stop in Broadhead and make them run about a mile just to keep the blood flowing and keep them focused. This is tough to do now. So I don't know what Coach Pogo is going to do, but I'm sure he's going to have them ready to go. But a big 2-game stretch here in conference and keep getting that momentum, keep going in the family center.
Yeah, you talk about these girls are a group of winners. I think now most of the girls, senior class through freshman class, have come up through the Wildfire program, which if you ever go to the family center, you look to the right side, to your left and upper right, you see all the banners that have been raised there, over the years. So those girls know how to win, but just learning to win at the high school level. They did that last year, and beginning of the year here, they took them a few games to kind of figure some stuff out, and they seem to be moving in the right direction. And you get through these 2 games, and then they have a little bit of time off before they get back on the horse after the Christmas holidays. So good things from that squad. And go back and watch that game on Daily Dodge TV. You can watch it on the Daily Dodge YouTube page, and it should be fun. I was hammered, Ryan, by a bunch of people saying if Brenna Rhodes' game-winning goal wasn't the number 1 play of the week in the ESPN Plays of the Week on Monday, they said they were going to riot.
Well, I would say the play of the week this last week had some excellent play-by-play to it, and I heard your call was fantastic. So, yeah, back-to-back. I would say this, and this goes back to the Daily Dodge covering so much. We've played 3 games at home, but 2 of the last with the Warbirds game on the 7th and now this game on the 17th. 2 huge plays at the end of the game with 2 awesome calls. If you're into sports at all, go back and watch the last minutes of those games. It gives you goosebumps just listening to it. And again, hats off to what you guys do, providing those memories for us or being able to go back and watch those.
Talk with Ryan Gerber, Athletics and Activities Director at Beaver Dam High School inside BDH Athletics. Let's go across the street back to the field house now. Girls basketball last night. TJ Jelka's squad, a blowout victory over the Fort Atkinson squad, 69-26. What a defensive effort. What an offensive effort for the Golden Beavers.
Yeah, just a dominant performance. And Beaver Dam had a grip on that matchup the last number of years, and it really wasn't even close from the get-go. Even the JV game, I believe our JV won by 30 points by the end of that game. So again, it just shows you where our program is and being able to win those games. Again, going into the psyche of a coach, you're going into a game where pretty certain that you're going to win the game. You're probably going to win by big numbers. How do you keep your kids focused? How do you keep your girls going so that they play tough defense, that they're executing on offense? And then once you have those girls and you got your starters and you got the big lead, you pull those girls out. How do you get your seconds to continue that thing? That's harder to do than what it seems. A lot of times you get kids, high school kids, that they're playing teams that they're better than, and they start kind of messing around. They take time off. They're not as focused as they should be. So hats off to that coaching staff, again, keeping girls focused, making sure you take care of business. And the score 69-26, it's a rout, but there was nothing in that game that showed bad sportsmanship. There was nothing that showed, we're trying to lay it in there to really exert some dominance. We did exactly what we do. We stayed within ourselves. So great overall effort and performance and sportsmanship by the Golden Beavers.
And just a side note on that, they go to Milton on Saturday, and that game was scheduled on Daily Dodge TV, but unfortunately we have a staffing issue, so we will not be able to broadcast that game. But our next look at TJ Julka's squad will be Friday, January 3rd, when they go to, I believe they go to Waunakee that day, and that's a radio-only broadcast that we have, because Waunakee has their own video sources that they do. So we'll get a look at Coach Julka's squad there, and it's going to be fun watching them be in the mix for a Badger Conference Championship. Ryan, the boys basketball team beat their rival Watertown on Saturday, and then they came back and slow start in the first half yesterday at Kettle Moraine Lutheran, tried to get themselves back in it, but just couldn't get over the hump, and they ride the bus home with a 3-point defeat.
Yeah, I mean, so we knew that this season was going to have its ups and its downs. Coach Ladrin went out of his way to schedule a tough schedule this year, and it's really to test his team and get them ready for the years to come, and hopefully in this year get them ready for the postseason run. Getting a win against Watertown's always a big deal. I know it adds a little bit of sizzle, given that Coach Ladrin is a former Gosling, grew up there. So, that adds a little bit to it. What a great environment on a Saturday matinee game. Had a huge student section come out, and of course our kids performed, just great performances by EJ Salatel again. And I know Coach was able to get a lot of the youngsters off the bench and in the game and play in that rivalry environment. So great effort there. And, again, lost by 3 to Kettle Moraine Lutheran, like you said, just a slow start, and EJ had a tough night, but other guys stepped up, scored points. Parker Stobie had 15. Parker Blank had 14. So this team has a lot going for it. There's going to be challenges ahead, but again, in most cases, we're able to score and play with anybody, and I really like where this team is heading. And again, they're being challenged, but that's okay. We always talk about in coaching, you're going to get punched in the mouth. How do you respond? How do you counterpunch? That's the important thing. And so we'll see what they do when they go down to Milton on the 19th. Yeah,
the Beavers head to Milton on Thursday night. That's a game you will see on Daily Dodge TV. Mike Tronson will be on the call. Aiden Voigt on the tech and the camera for that one down there. And then we also will have radio broadcasts of the Golden Beavers going to the Century Classic. They'll play Spash, that's Stevens Point, on Friday night, the 27th, 7:45, and then Oshkosh West on Saturday afternoon, the 28th. Again, the Century Classic is one of the historic tournaments, holiday tournaments in the state of Wisconsin. Privileged to play in that event there, so we'll get a look at them there, Ryan. Wrestling. I'll be with you Friday night at the Fieldhouse. Milton comes to town. Beaver Dam Wrestling on Daily Dodge TV at 7:00. Just what did you see on the wrestling team this past weekend, and what should we look ahead to?
Well, I think the biggest thing is how this lineup continues to gel and continues to come together. They're going to be getting Colton Schultz back in the lineup this week, so that'll be a big plus. And just to see where the lineup moves and turns in order to get him in the lineup. Remember, he was a state qualifier last year and wrestled so well down the stretch. This is what I'll say about Milton. Milton is a perennial blue blood program in the state of Wisconsin. Most people, even if you're not a wrestling person, know Milton wrestling is a big deal. Last year, they really struggled. They really had a down year. I can tell you, just in looking at some of the results and what they've done already. They're not back, but they're on their way back. And so this is going to be a really tough test. Milton's put up big numbers against some conference opponents that they've faced already this year. I do believe, no disrespect to anybody, but I've always said, even back when I was coaching, that Pat Yauk, their head coach, is the best coach, one of the best in the state, if not the best in the state. He's able to get the most out of kids, especially at the end of the year. So look out for Milton. They wrestle a tough schedule, and the Golden Beavers will be tested.
All right, so again, look forward to watching the wrestling team on Daily Dodge TV, both the boys, and hopefully we can see the girls at some point this year as well. It's I talked to Coach Winker last week. Got to set up. I need to talk to Coach Lauterbach and get the full preview on the girls wrestling team, because we talked a little bit last week how that's. It's just great to see how that program is growing as well. As kind of they're together, but it's like boys and girls basketball. Eventually, the WIAA, they hope that's going to be like full standalone boys and girls separate teams, right?
Right. Right now, we're kind of operating like cross country,
yes,
where you have one team but two divisions within it. Next year, the girls only can compete with the girls. So we'll be making some decisions on what we need to do. At some point, our numbers are going to grow to having, excuse me, I'm still not over this cough. Something to look forward to for Friday.
Yes, exactly. I'll grab the call. I plotted my way through one wrestling meet on TV. I know enough because I grew up in a wrestling town, Wisconsin Rapids, so I know a little bit.
Absolutely.
I know a little bit about it, but not like I'm not going to be calling moves like you anymore, because I was the redheaded stepchild that played basketball and didn't sell out our arenas.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't even know how you survived in Rapids by playing basketball, but that'll be a story for another time.
It is, but So
I will say this: when Milton comes to town, they are incredibly physical. So if you're into just tough physical battles, this is one you want to tune in for.
So we need a big crowd out there to back the Golden Beavers. 7:00 or so will be the first match on Friday night. But if you can't make it, again, check it out on Daily Dodge TV. Boys swimming. Do we have anything to report on boys swimming since we last talked?
They competed at Oregon and Milton. They were down a couple guys due to injuries, so they're still getting better, still getting PRs, but they're hitting some pretty tough teams in the conference. So it's going to be a long way to work, but we got the right people in place, and we've got a group of kids that's ready to work. Again, I mentioned this before. They're going in at 6:00 every morning to practice at the Y. This is a dedicated group of kids, and they get better each time. We just happen to compete in a pretty tough conference.
All right, let's switch gears to activities right now, Ryan, because if people drive by the high school at night, every night it seems like there's a concert going on, whether it be music, the voice side, the orchestra, the band, holiday concerts galore at the high school, and they've been pretty busy over there. I was at the high school choir concert on, I think, last Friday night, and all the elementaries are there and the bands, and it's been a fun time and seeing all the talented kids we have doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and let me just remind folks, the high school has their concerts. The community has some different musical events here. But each elementary has a number of different concerts, and most people remember those, whether they have elementary-age kids now or they had them recently or they had them in the past. So last night, for instance, Jefferson had their K1s over here as well as their 4-5s. Those are two totally separate concerts. They're going to have their 2-3s over here. So, just a reminder, we do schedule these things. We do look at them, but ultimately, this is concert season, and those winter concerts are a big deal. They're sacred, and each elementary has those, and we still have conference matchups, both basketball and hockey. And I will say, when it comes to parking, things look tight because hockey's across the road. We're very blessed to have the family center right across the road from us. Trust me, I understand that every single day when I leave my office, walk to the rink, come back for wrestling and basketball. But that does create a parking situation when you have a concert, when you have a conference basketball game, and then you have hockey. So just take a look at our event schedule ahead of time. Plan ahead. Those concerts usually start about 6:00, so there's shifting of cars and everything else. But if you do need to get close to the doors and you need help getting in, just plan ahead. Let us know if you need something, and we're certainly willing to accommodate what we can.
Ryan, we both raved, and the community has raved about what a great job Les Miserables was. What a great performance by the kids and the staff putting that thing together. And the nominations for the Jerry Awards, which is is that like the Oscars for Wisconsin and in high school like musicals and plays and things like that?
I'm glad you asked. So the Jerry's, they're for Wisconsin High School Music Award program that awards programs and encourages and recognizes and honors excellence in high school musical theater all across Wisconsin. So this has been going on since 2009. And it used to be called the Tommy Awards. They've renamed them to the Jerry Awards after a big supporter of the arts, but they have people who go out and watch all of these high school musicals across the state of Wisconsin. So this year, the group that went out and watched these productions visited 100 high schools in over 30 counties. So, I mean, just think of that effort alone, going to all the different musicals across the state of Wisconsin. And they'll go to more, as some schools have spring musicals. So they watch these, they take notes, and then they give awards. And Beaver Dam High School, again, was a big recipient of a lot of those awards.
Yeah, the nominees, listen to this list here. I mean, you sent me the list. Outstanding Spirit Award. They're releasing these too as well on their Facebook pages, but Outstanding Spirit nominations, Dylan Carnine, Owen Nill, Lincoln Titus, Raul Zavala. But then you have they're nominated for Outstanding Stage Crew, Ryan. Outstanding Scenic Design, Mark Lefebvre. Outstanding Lighting and Design, Greg Richard. Outstanding Sound Design, August Shire. Outstanding Overall Design, Mark Lefebvre. The set was awesome. I mean, the set that you had there, it was unbelievable, the size of it, and it flowed great. Outstanding Youth Performance, AJ Bates. No relation. Outstanding Supporting Performance, Jackson Sauer. Outstanding Lead Performance, Raul Zavala. He played Jean Valjean. Noah Kickert, Outstanding Lead Performance. Ella Downs, Outstanding Lead Performance. Maya Conity, Outstanding Lead Performance. Lincoln Titus, Outstanding Lead Performance. Owen Nill, Outstanding Lead Performance. Ella Gokenauer, Outstanding Lead Performance. Cece Zahn, Outstanding Lead Performance. And the Ensemble, Orchestra, and Music was all nominated for Jerry Awards. That's like the entire show. That's how great that show was.
Yeah, I think you'd call that a clean sweep of the Jerry's. So, yeah. But again, we continue to talk about it, that the product that these kids put out every single year. You obviously have seniors graduate like you do in our sports. You have freshmen come in. But every year they are consistently top-notch, first class, doing an outstanding job. And that really starts with the culture that's been built here and maintained by Mark Lefebvre in his group and all the people that he works with. And then you talk about the lighting design. Greg Richard, who we're so lucky to have here, does a tremendous job, and the amount of hours he puts in to make sure that the audio and the lighting is where it needs to be. And then you mentioned the set. What an impressive set. I think Mark is trying to build a bigger set every year. Like, how big can we get this? Like, can we fit it up through the roof? I'm waiting for him to ask if we can take the roof off. I went in there because I didn't want to see the set until it was built. I went up there and walked around on it. Tremendous. So, people see the performance, and certainly the award should go to the performers that were on stage, but the work behind the scenes to put them in position to do this is tremendous. And I know Mr. Lefebvre will be looking at next year's musical very soon. He'll start scouting out things. I mean, it's a whole process to determine what they're going to do. And this community really comes out and supports it, and they look forward to it. So I'm sure it'll be a good one next year. They bit off a huge effort this year picking Les Mis. What a difficult performance to do, and they just knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, I had a guy who was a Les Mis fan tell me after one of the shows, it was just some random guy that came to see it. He was a groupie, I guess, kind of like following the Grateful Dead. He said said that was the best high school performance of Les Mis that he has seen. And then I also had somebody else ask me, what community band did we have? Did we contract out to do the music? And play this, and I said those are all the students that are playing down below, and the guy couldn't believe that the Beaver Dam students were able to pull off, because that's a tough musical score as well to put together. And another guy was just thoroughly impressed with that. So again, hats off to everybody, and the Jerry's really showed that what everybody thought was a reality, that this was probably one of the best shows Beaver Dam has ever put on, I would bet, in the history of theater, which is in music.
To your point, 3 years ago when my first year here, I thought they were playing a recording of the music. Mm-hmm. So again, it's you see the performance and the performers and what they're doing, but all the people that are working that you don't see, that you hear or you see their product. Again, it's a total team effort. Just an outstanding effort, and we couldn't be prouder.
Nope. A couple other things on the music side. I know the kids are working hard picking their solo ensemble pieces, which gets underway. I think in February or so they actually have to go and do that. Auditions after the first of the year for TRAP, which is the spring play that they do as well, are out there. So there's going to be lots of opportunities for people to enjoy the arts and the music at the district here as we head through early 2025.
Yeah, and Jen Tunks just got that information to me. I'm waiting for some graphics that we can put up, and that'll be up on our website. We've really tried to make our activities website inclusive of everything. So if you go there, you can find out all the events we have. There's a tab at the top that has athletics, a tab that has events, which we're building websites out for all of our annual invites, including Slam at the Dam. Our special events like homecoming are on there. And then if you click performing arts, you'll see all the different performing arts that we have. And soon enough, the new school play that we'll see this spring will be up there as well.
All right, Ryan, again, refresh us. He gave us a little bit of information there, but if people have any questions about activities or athletics, how do they get in contact with your office?
Check out badgerconference.org or go to our activities website, or simply just give us a call.
All right, inside Beaver Dam High School athletics and activities for this week. Our next chat will be after the new year, Ryan. So Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and appreciate all you do for the students and people in Beaver Dam. Thank you.
Happy holidays, and go Beavers.